Yeah, we didn't think it was that comfortable. We were unhappy most of the night in the coach's box, and I think the players were a little bit that way as well. The things that we wanted to get done were good in parts, but we just let them score a little bit too easily, which kept them in the game. But I think, add James Kelly to that list as well. He was a bit limited. So with the personnel we had down, it was a good effort. But I'm sure Rossi was sitting in the box thinking we'd love to have Lenny Hayes as well. So they've been hit hard by injury, and we're certainly not going to use injury as an excuse for our performance at this stage.
Pretty workmanlike display though, Chris.
Yeah, it's a pretty good way of describing it. Yeah, we got the job done. As I've said a few times this year, I don't think we played exactly the way we'd like to play. Hopefully the players are getting a bit better understanding of what our best footy looks like, but we're just not able to piece it together for the whole 4 quarters. But that's really difficult because most opposition are pretty good at trying to stop you doing what you want to do. In my opinion, the competition's never been so even. If you're a little bit off, you can lose any game. You guys might disagree with that, but that's the reality for us. That's the way we go into a game. We thought this was a genuine 50-50 game.
We know the big guns that were out, but once again, it was when Geelong needed a goal, it tended to be Menzel, or it was Duncan, or it was Vardy. That must be pleasing that these young kids coming through are the ones that are answering the challenge now as well, not just, contributing as well.
Yeah, we feel it's really important for our footy club to give those young players opportunity, and by that I mean real quality opportunity. So we don't want to get them on the outskirts, just finishing off. We want to get them in the middle of it, taking responsibility for the team performance. And Menzel, Duncan, Taylor Hunt through this year have just kept taking steps forward. Vardy's come in as well, and has shown some good signs. I mean, that's all they are at this stage, good signs. We think Al Christensen can come in as well, but it's really important that we don't bring those young players in and hide them. We've got to get them in the action because they're the ones they're going to have to turn games in 3 or 4 years the way Bartel and Chapman do.
How well placed are you in that big picture sense then, Scotty? As you said, you're concentrating on this year as much as you are 2014 or 2015. Given that these kids keep stepping up, you must be pretty happy with that bigger picture view, how it sits at the moment.
I'm reasonably happy. It's so hard to tell. I mean, you look at your list and where it's going to be in 3 or 4 years, and I mean, we think we've got some good options there, but you don't know how they're going to develop. We'd like to think that Vardy could play a similar role to the one Brad Ottens has played, but that's a big ask. So to an extent, we're kind of hoping at this point. We've just got to make sure that on a daily basis we're putting the work into those players, doing our best to make sure they understand the way we want to play, thinking about 3 or 4 years' time, but not neglecting the here and now.
How's Jimmy Bartel?
Oh, he's got a sore head. He's got a bit of memory loss, but that's pretty much all I know at this stage. So, as is always the case with concussion, it's going to take a little bit of time to assess him. In 3 days, he could be perfect. In 3 weeks, he might be not quite right. We just don't know.
And Kelly and Milburn, both ankles, are they at the minor end of the scale, do you think? Or?
Yeah, we think they're minor. I mean, they could both play, albeit under duress. So it's a little bit hard to know. Sometimes those guys come up the week after with no problems. I guess the positive signs are that the medical staff decided they weren't going to do any more damage by staying out there. So if there's a good sign, that's it.
What did you think of the treatment of Steve Johnson tonight? It seemed as if Dempster was particularly trying to aggravate him or target him. Were you happy with how things played out there?
I can understand why the opposition targets Stevie Johnson. He's an absolute gun of the competition. My philosophy with that is the opposition can do anything within the rules they like. And I didn't see anything that was outside the rules tonight. I wasn't watching the match-up the whole night, but no, Stevie certainly has no problem with that. I know that firsthand from playing on him, and we don't have any problem either. It was a long time ago, I know.
Stokes on his 100th game?
Yeah, he's fantastic, Stokesy. He's had some setbacks in his life. Not everything's worked out exactly the way he would have liked it to. But I said to the boys during the week that I knew Stokesy was a good player last year, looking on as an outsider. He's a tough little player. I didn't realise how team-oriented he is, and that's the thing that makes Stokesy so respected around the club.
Have you kind of changed his role a little bit? Now is he playing more midfield and less as a small forward? Because he seems to be really having a good year.
Yeah, he's probably in the same boat as a lot of our players. We'd like to think their roles have changed a little bit. You know, the coaching group have put a lot of time into where we need to improve. And one obvious thing is we felt we needed a bigger contribution from our midfield type players. And Stokes has played a lot of good footy as a forward, but we've got no doubt that he can add to our midfield mix as well.
Can you tell us now, Scotty, what you think of Joel Selwood's suspension?
Yeah, I said to the TV guys afterwards that it's not a matter of me giving my opinion, but I think it's important that we explain our rationale for challenging the decision. And we felt as a club that the penalty handed down to Joel initially reflected a player punching an opposition player intentionally behind the play. And Joel swears to us that didn't happen, and we believed him. So we felt it was our obligation to defend his character. And we risked an extra week. We're obviously very disappointed with the decision, but we feel in some way vindicated that we've gone some way to restoring his character.
Although it was perhaps a loss, you consider it a bit of a win.
If people understand that that's not what happened, then yeah, we'll take the extra week. It's important. I mean, Joel probably is going to be captain of this club. He's a young man of the highest integrity. When he tells us categorically what he's accused of didn't happen, we have an obligation, in my opinion, to defend him.
How are you keeping
You're right with that,
ticking over
Damien?
for the month?
Sorry?
4 weeks off this time of year is obviously not ideal. How are you going to keep him ticking over so he's Jerry right to go?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Like, is 4 weeks off at this time of the year a bad thing? We don't know yet. It's a challenge for our medical staff, our conditioning staff, and that challenge is to get him back playing better footy at the end of the year than he otherwise would. So it's, we'd love to have him playing, but we've got to try to make a positive out of it.
Some might say, Scotty, the next phase of your draw isn't as tough, perhaps, as what you've just sort of been through. How are you going to use this sort of next month if you're looking that far ahead in terms of your planning and management?
Yeah, I'm loath to tell you too much, Jay, to be honest. We, as a coaching group, as a footy club, spend a lot of time on the long term, even the medium term, but we've got to be careful not to talk about that with the players because they have to live in the short term. They have to narrow their focus and deal with what's important to them and to the club on a day-to-day basis. But we certainly don't look at the draw and earmark games as ones that we should win. I think that's a really bad approach to take into any game. Right from round one, when we took the conservative approach with Paul Chapman and Cameron Ling, we've maintained that if players are a little bit limited, if they're 50-50, even 60-40, we're going to be cautious with them, and we'll continue to do that. And in my view, we shouldn't change that whether we're playing Collingwood or whether we're playing the team on the bottom of the ladder.